see which one of these figures is the better buy. Is it this guy, the original and the first NECA Godzilla, or is it this one, the most recent NECA Godzilla, not counting Mothra or Rodan? Well, let's get started. So right away you can see an immediate difference, the color. 2014 is much more blue-black with brown highlights on his chest, while Godzilla 2019 is a consistent green-gray wash thrown together with brown highlights. For the face, I guess you could say, on these figures, they're dramatically different. Sculpt, they are pretty much the same, but in terms of the overall color, again, skin, blue and black, green and gray. But something you can actually notice is that on the teeth, they're much more defined on this one than they are this one. In terms of the mouth color, I like this one a bit more because it's actually painted all the way, while down there, yeah. In terms of inside the mouth, again, I like this guy's a little bit more, but that's just because of the color choice. Something I actually did notice right away is the tongue. Like, his tongue sits a little lower in the mouth, while his is much more higher up in the mouth. The eyes are really different too, because right there you can actually see they're more crocodile eyes, which is a nice touch, and I think it's accurate to the movie. This one looks a bit more human-esque. I don't know how to put it, but it looks more human to me. At least this one. So his looks more animalistic. His eyes look more human, I guess. Another big thing you can see is the spines. Now, we all know for a darn fact that this one is much bigger than this one is. But spoilers for Godzilla Aftershock, people that haven't read it. The Muto Prime does his supersonic roar, or her, I don't know. I'm just going to call it a he. Muto Prime does his supersonic roar at Godzilla's spines, completely shattering them from this, and then they grow back to this. So that's the reason why they look so different. But in terms of like the overall design and detail of the spines, even though I will say this, I prefer the 2014 design over the 2019 design, in terms of the figures, I like these spines a lot more than these ones. These ones are just more rubbery, flimsy, and the detail doesn't match what's found on here. This one, they're much more stiff, but still slightly rubbery, and they perfectly match the detail from here and here. So, also, they're much, much, much bigger. Another thing that I do like, in terms of a tie, I like the legs on both, but I can't tell which feet I like more. I've grown so used to the toes being clamped together, and it's just a sudden change for me to go back to this, like the toes spread out. I don't know, I've always been used to Godzilla's feet almost looking like elephant feet, and I don't know which one I like better. But in terms of the actual figure itself, I will say that I like the coloring on this guy a bit more. Which, that's the thing. This guy looks like he's meant to be a daytime Godzilla. This one looks like he's meant to be a nighttime Godzilla. And here is one of the more bigger changes in terms of the designs in the figures. The tail. Obviously, the 2014's tail is a lot longer. And I actually did notice this. But if you look closely, take a look at that. See that little spine right there? But then take a look at the bendy wire. Sorry, no, my curtain. But look at this. See that little spine? That is the same exact one found, if I can get it right angle. It's hard to do. Hold on. So, after popping off the tail on both, right here is actually where this spine is. So you can actually see where NECA actually cut the design. which actually leads me to believe that they actually shortened the tail on the actual thing, because these two actually used the model and the files from the actual movie, which leads me to believe that all they just did was cut and shorten the tail on the 2014 one, and it made it a little shorter. So I guess that's something. Alright, so that's pretty much it for sculpt and paint. Now let's go over the articulation. Same exact darn thing. We have two segments in the head, an articulated jaw, a ball-jointed shoulder, an articulated elbow, and just something that's I found a bit different. Alright, anyways, like I was saying, something I noticed about the hand movement is that if you look on this one's on a ball peg, which I think I'm gonna pop this off. If you actually look, it's like on a barbell style ball peg, so it's like one here and then a joint there. So where it plugs into the forearm, it kind of acts as like a barbell style joint where it can kind of shift it in and out of the socket. Here it's removed, so there's only one ball peg that plugs into the forearm, and they actually replaced it with a hinge. So yeah, there was no hinge on that before, which it's weird. It's a weird change, but it allows for just a little bit of more hand movement. Yeah. On the 2014 waist articulation, it was a bit freed up because of me. I kind of took a hairdryer to it, and I can really shift to the side and get a good amount of movement side to side, but I can barely get anything up and down. Here, that's fixed. So you can really get an arcing back. You can really get an him looking down, almost like, I don't know, maybe King Ghidorah grabbing my GMK Ghidorah. Maybe like, I don't know, he's just kind of getting ready to do the kiss of death on one of the heads. I don't know. But yeah, that put aside, he can also straighten up and kind of rotate side to side. And it's much more freed up on this one, so I'm not sure if it has to do with more of the sculpt or what. Legs, they're a bit stiff on this one, but that's because I just got this thing like less than a week ago. The leg articulation, I really freed up. Like, I can get them, darn it, to do the splits. Go in and out, shift within inside the socket. The only problem it's just loose, so I have to fix it with nail polish from time to time. Here I'm probably just gonna keep it like this, unless if I want to do like an action scene in one of my shows or movies with this guy. So yeah, basically the same movement, no hinge added or anything. And finally, we get to the tail articulation, which is possibly the biggest change throughout this guy. So we have on the 2014, 1, 2, 3, 4 segments of ball joints, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a bendable wire at the end, which, if we're being honest here, I love this bendy wire tail. It feels very sturdy and durable, which means it's probably going to last a little bit, and it also really adds to the overall length of the figure. Like, dang, this is almost my entire camera. This one, on the other hand, while it is shorter, it makes up right in articulation. So we have the same 1, 2, 3, 4 where you attach the tail, but here's where it's different. Instead of a bendy wire, full ball joints. So this means there's no wire in it, which means it's not going to protrude out of the figure, and then you have a big wire coming out of it. Mecha Godzilla exposed there. And also, something that's worrisome is that the wire end of it actually ends, I think, around here, which means that this entire piece is just free-floating. So you risk the possibility of it getting ripped, which would suck so darn badly. So that's going to have to wrap it up for this comparison. There's no accessories with either. They're both the exact same height, and I already told you my thoughts. But if I had to select a winner, So, yeah, that's the big question. Who do I think is the better figure? Or what do I think is the better figure? So, ignoring all design choices for the actual monster itself, I would really have to say, oh, darn, this is actually really hard. Like, I'm literally deciding this on video. 2019, I love you, I really do, but 2014, you're still my favorite. You might be wondering why I selected 2014 over 2019. I can't ignore the design. Like, seriously, I prefer the longer tail. I prefer the darker color. I prefer almost everything about this guy to him, except the dorsal fins. Maybe if these were a bit more detailed and maybe a bit bigger, then maybe this one would have been a better knockout. Because even though this guy has better tail articulation, I'll give it that. You can't beat this one, because for $20, and I know they're both $20, but this one, many people say this is better than the Monster Arts, for crying out loud. And this one got wiped the floor with it. That just shows how much I don't really know what else to say about them, because they're literally the exact same mold, but I don't know, I prefer the longer tail. I prefer the feeling of this one to this one, because they feel like different types of plastics. Like, so yeah, I'm gonna say this guy is the winner, this guy is the runner-up. I like him, I really do. He's a great figure with great articulation, good detail, an amazing accuracy to the film. And even though he doesn't come with any accessories, he's still a good figure. This one's just kind of better than him in some ways, especially the eyes. I prefer his eyes over him. But anyways, guys, that's kind of all I have to say about these two. Comment down which one's your favorite. Do you prefer the 2014 over the 2019, or the 2019 over the 2014? Please let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video.